This whole thing started 5 months ago in an ocean far away. Crankworx Rotorua. And the start of the Crankworx Downhill World Series. When the dust settled on the famous Rotorua Dirt Gold, Francis Loek-Bruning took the win. Next, we find ourselves in the French Alps. Crankworx Leger. One of the muddiest courses in downhill history. Remy Thirion, France's very own, tamed that muddy course. And now we are here in the epicenter of mountain biking, Crankworx Whistler. Riders like Bronson, like Blinky, like the Bulldog, and like Thirion are all here to try and sew up the championships right here, right now.
It's day number 9 here at Crankworx Whistler. I'm here standing beside the course, and all the riders are going to be riding in the honor of the late and great Stevie Smith. As we come into the Canadian Open Downhill presented by iXS, it all starts right now.
Look, here he comes. Check the time. Check the time for Blinky. Here we go. Back to the action here. Oh, just barely too short.
It looks like he is fast forward right now.
Welcome to your Crankworx World Tour stop number 3, your Canadian Open DH presented by iXS, and a true mountain biking playground right here, a slice of awesomeness, we call it. BC, Whistler, BC to be exact. Tristan, day 9. How are you excited about today, man?
I'm pumped. It's the final race, the final downhill race of the Crankworx World Tour. And if the first 2 rounds have taught us anything, we're in for a barn burner here today.
Well, the Canadian Open's been going on for 10 years, a decade of it. How much has the course changed this year as opposed to in the past, or has it?
It hasn't really changed from last year, but the biggest thing is, right, it is in the bike park, so it sees regular abuse day in, day out. But a big chunk of it is never really open, actually. So for a lot of local riders, they're pretty fired up to have full access to this amazing trail.
Oh, it's one of those that everyone looks forward to. Here's the start of this. Talk us through this, Tristan.
Well, 3 distinct sections here. And up top, I call it the upper fast section where you can actually get your flow on. I mean, everything's rugged out there. It's jagged, it's gnarly, but if you find the rhythm in it, you can actually make up a lot of time, and it does flow really smooth through there, especially up onto Heckler's Rock. You can see here, it flows through the trees. There's some natural doubles. There's a lot of rock up there that you have to navigate through, some rock gardens as well. And then, of course, we talk about Heckler's Rock. You know the people go nuts up there. That kind of starts to signify that you're ending the first section, and then it really becomes the middle section of the track. There's no smooth lines through there. There's nothing but gnar, sharp rocks, spaghetti roots, down to the hard pack, down to the bedrock. Not easy. And then, of course, the final section, it's a downhill supercross. There's nothing but big jumps, and you're going to have rhythm and flow through there if you're not too tired.
It's one of those things when you get down to the end, you got the big jumps in the end. Those are like the equalizers. You're tired by that time. Your arms are hurting, but you still got to hold on.
Well, and I think the biggest thing, too, is, right, the fans are down here in full force. It is a Saturday afternoon, so they're going to be screaming. A little bit of verbal courage is going to go a long way for the racers if they're starting to feel fatigued.
So do you feel that the race and the flow of the race is what are the keys to kind of winning this thing?
Well, I raced it years ago. I never figured out the formula because I crashed every year really, really hard. But I think, you know, if you set off with a good pace, you find your flow up top, and then you're just able to really hold on through the middle section and then bring it home by staying low over all the jumps. But again, there are massive, massive doubles in there. So that being said, you're going to be having a fair bit of airtime. So
you got some work ahead of you for sure. We're excited to bring it to you. But let's check in. Third member of our team standing by right now. it's Hannah Bernard. Hannah?
Thanks very much, guys. Well, I'm just up here on course at the Canadian Open Downhill presented by iXS, and it's been the story all week. It's been very, very hot. Making conditions coming into the race today, dry, dusty, and loose. You can actually come down here and see there is about 0 moisture in this dirt, so it's going to be very, very, very blown out on the course here today. But the riders, they're loving it. Specifically, Troy Brosnan actually Instagrammed today saying that it was dry, loose, and super dusty. In his eyes, that's perfect. So we'll have to see which guys can use these conditions to their favor here today, guys. Back up to you.
And thank you so much, Hannah Bernard, for that one. Tristan, now we talk about a lot of things here. Let's talk about the riders to watch for, and specifically, let's talk about the ladies first there.
Yeah, well, it's a unique racing track here, completely different than we've seen all year long. It's dry, it's loose, it's dusty, so the person I think it's going to favor most, Tracey Hannah. You got to think it's similar to Australia there. There's no moisture in the ground out there. But then the second person we're going to talk about who has a strong year, Emily Siegenthaler. Again, we saw her excel in Leger, the muddiest, wettest, craziest race of the entire year. Will she be able to adapt to today's dry racing conditions? You got to think she's had a full week of riding, so I would hope so. And then our last female we should talk about, MARIN Carpenter. She's no stranger to the podium, no stranger to winning races. She's been enjoying her time here. She's been riding all week long. I think she'd be able to pull something out today for our ladies.
And you also got to think about, too, one we might have left out there, Casey Brown, another one that we should be seeing out there, too, as well. Casey Brown, expect big things out of her. Well, let's now switch gears, talk about the guys who we look for on those.
Yeah, I expect them to go full bore out there on the track here today. Another guy, Brooke McDonald.
Yeah.
Strong riding style, full committed. He would be loving it out there. Foot out, flat out, drifting around on every corner and just putting on a show for the fans.
All right, who else? So if you're looking at Bulldog, who's the other guy we'd look for?
Well, this guy's won the race before, Marcelo Gutierrez. He's no stranger to the podium, done well in obviously Garbanzo race. Can he tame the shorter sub-3-minute track here? He's done it. Can he do it again here today in this loose conditions?
Yeah, and you think about it, like you said, he won it in 2014. He's your Garbo DH winner from this year. But one guy we left out, he's a defending champ, Troy Brosnan. And if you look at his Instagram, he's pumped on today's course.
He's staying up to date, staying up to date. I mean, that is a guy that's been on fire this year at the World Cup. Hasn't taken a World Cup win, but you know what? He's been loving it here. He's got a brand new one-off bike, and he is going to be shredding hard for the fans today. So you might have the inside pick there. You might. No wonder you're doing well on fantasy.
In fact, I didn't pick him on fantasy, so I'd be looking bad on this one. All right, so there's so many things going on when it comes to Crankworx and series titles going on. And King and Queen of Crankworx. Well, Queen's been decided. That's Jill Kittner, but let's check in with Hannah Bernard for an update on the King of Crankworx. Hannah?
Thanks very much, Brad. Well, one of the big stories that we're going to be following here today in the contest is, of course, the King of Crankworx title. Now it's a duel between two guys, Thomas Slavic and this guy, Sam Blankensop. Now, Thomas Slavic isn't racing today. He took the gold in the giant dual slalom yesterday, which put him in front of Sam. But Sam, he is racing in the Canadian Open Downhill presented by iXS here today. If he gets in the top 5, he will walk away with the King of Crankworx title. That's how it's going to go down here today. It's going to be decided in today's race. The drama ensues in the King of Crankworx title here today. Guys, back up to you.
Thank you so much, Hannah. Taking a look at those King of Crankworx leaderboard as it stands right now. And Hannah makes good points on that. Thomas Slavic, he's not racing today, but he's got the lead. But Blanky is racing today. And if he could finish 5th or stronger than that, then he could take away the title of King or Crankworx. And that brings us to the Crankworx poll for today. Let's break this one down for you. Always fun talking about the Crankworx poll today. Today's race will decide King of Crankworx. There's only 45 points between first and second. Who will be king? Who's going to take home the crown? And $25,000. Will it be number 1, Thomas Slavic, with 485 points as he sits idle today? Or will it be Blanky, Sam Blankensop, who's got 440 points? Well, those guys are looking to keep it safe today. And speaking of keeping it safe, well, Tristan has caught up with Gavin Voss, iXS design engineer, on the line. All about safety, Tristan.
All right, Gavin, I have to ask you a question here because you're the design engineer at iXS.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the helmets here because the riders are pushing the limits more and more. Tracks are getting more and more burly. How are you guys combating what the riders are doing out there when things go wrong?
Tristan, firstly what we do is focus on the structural strength of the helmet. We've tried to reduce the size and the volume of the helmet and increase the ventilation. So one of our core technologies, which we call X-Matter, is a fiber reinforced polymer. which cradles the head, creates a void between the shell and the EPS, and basically absorbs a lot more energy.
Okay, and so that's a good-looking helmet there. Let's now talk about, is it a carbon fiber helmet? Is it a plastic helmet? What kind of material is it made out of on the shell?
No, what we've done, Tristan, specifically working with the Earthwall Rider Foundation, we've gone with a material which is a fiber-reinforced polymer, which is environmentally a lot more sound in that it uses less energy to manufacture the fibers, and it's environmentally responsive as in that it breaks down over time, whereas carbon fiber stays carbon fiber forever.
So I got to ask you, who's your pick for today's downhill then?
Phew, let's wait and see what the results is. Hopefully one of our team riders come in, and we're super excited. I don't want to predict anything at this stage. Let's let the guys run it out together and see who comes out on top.
Well, I want to thank you for your time and dropping some knowledge on us there about
Cheers,
the
mate.
helmet design and the safety protocol that goes into it. So we want to wish you all the best this afternoon.
Great. Thanks, Tristan. Have a good one. Cheers, mate.
And as you can see, safety definitely paramount when it comes to the riders. Definitely want to make sure that everyone is covered, and that's what they do there at iXS. Let's take a look at your men's start list for today, breaking it down for you. Some names out there. Harry Heath, he's been doing good out here so far this year.
Yeah, Jack Moir, Mitch Rupalato will be kicking things off first there. We'll have to see what he brings. Alex MARIN, Nico Moali. We haven't seen him at all this year due to injury. Rupert Chapman, Eddie Masters, Jack Redding. That guy is going to be on fire here today if he keeps the bike upright. Laurie Greenland, that could be a really fast rider, but we got to touch on Sam Blankensop, the guy above him.
And you got Bernard Kerr in there too. He's former king of Crankworx from last year. But then you got Mark Wallace, Brooke McDonald, the Bulldog representing, and then the rest of them right here. Wow.
Oh, those last two Australian riders right there. Connor Fearon and then Troy Brosnan. The two Aussies going to be bringing the heat all day and all the way down.
Well, and you can see Troy Brosnan, he's the defending champ from last year. We'll see if he can come back and go back-to-back. Well, that's it for the guys, breaking it down for the men's start list. Stay with us right here, Canadian Open DH presented by iXS, because the women, that's right, they're coming up next.
To be the best, you have to go all in. We're all in, 100% dedicated to one bike. The 12-speed Cassette's 10 to 50 tooth spread gives you a 500% gear range. This is Eagle, the all-new generation of one-by drivetrain technology from the company that lives one-by.
What is luxury? For Jeep Grand Cherokee, it's premium leather. And being ready for anything with best-in-class 4x4 capability and the confidence of select terrain. For the luxury of going wherever the adventure takes you. Jeep Grand Cherokee, the most awarded SUV ever. 75 years in the making. Attractive lease rates now available.
Crankworx Whistler brought to you by SRAM, the power of bicycles. And by Jeep. And by Kokanee, Glacier Fresh Beer. It's the beer out here. Another beautiful day out here. Day number 9 here. Crankworx World Tour stop number 3. Tristan, Eric, Brad J. And tell you what, let's take a look at the ladies start list right now and get things fired up, because they're going to be coming down this hill in just a moment here for your Canadian Open DH presented by iXS.
Yeah, let's see who's going to be coming in. So Casey Brown, we'll be seeing her first drop in there, handling the track. Miranda Miller, we know she's had a full week of racing. She's already got a win here this week. Let's see what she can do. Of course, touched on Tracey Hanna, Manon Carpenter as well. So some heavy hitters in there. I think it's anybody's game with that one. It's going to be rolling the dice. Who can keep it upright? Who can go fast?
I like how you bring up Tracey Hanna and the fact that these are the kind of conditions that she's kind of used to in Australia, dry conditions. This could cater to her today.
I would hope so, and she's got a bit of a fearless riding style, so if she can commit, she could be taking the win.
All right, let's check back in with Hannah Bernard, standing by with more. Hannah Bernard, where are you out there and what's going on?
Thanks, guys. Well, I'm just hanging out down here
Oh,
at
yeah.
the finish line. And you might have noticed that a very big name was missing off of that list for the women's. Did you notice?
Yes, I did. Did you want to go ahead and let everyone know who that name is?
Yeah, we actually just got word that our Queen of Crankworx, we crowned her yesterday, Jill Kittner, has dropped out of the race here today. Now, we spoke yesterday. She said that she was so ecstatic to walk away with that title. And I think here today, she just wants to take a break. She's been very, very busy, like getting on top of the podium all week here. So yeah, she's dropped out of the race. But what's interesting is she actually was in first for the Downhill Series Championship. So now that opens it up for another lady, specifically Tracey, Hannah, who you said favors these conditions coming into the contest here today. So we could see if she gets on the podium, she could walk away with the Downhill Series Championship. So that opens up.
Now, Hannah, the question to you, of course, Tristan and I were talking about this earlier, is we figured that Jill Kittner would not race today because of taking the Queen title and just saving herself. Do you think this is kind of the same thing on this?
I actually, was going the other way. I think Jill loves to win, and, she was a huge contender out here today, and she would have obviously loved to walk away with that Downhill Series Championship. But hey, she's opening it up for some other ladies here today, so that's awesome of her.
Oh, thank you so much, Hannah Bernard down there, breaking it down. Jill Kittner not in the race today, and you look at what Jill Kittner has done, 340 total points in her DH Championship Series, and then you got Tracey Hannah behind her with 275, so it's close, but Tracey Hannah's going to need to finish up there in the top to be able to take that DH
She
series.
will, but I mean, Jill's won 8 different races throughout the year, so changing things up, some well-deserved time off, but it's time to go racing right now. We should start to see our First Lady getting on track here. Again, your Canadian Open DH presented by iXS.
Oh, and that's a look at Casey Brown. Here comes Casey Brown dropping in next for you.
So again, first section of the track, couple rollers. There's a huge little double natural hip onto the rocks there. Extremely slippery. Again, the best way to describe it is dusty everywhere out there. But it's like talcum powder on all the slick rock. So whereas in the wet, you know what's going to be, lose traction and where you're going to have traction. When it gets dry and dusty like this, you don't really know. It could be a roll of the dice. You think you're totally fine. All of a sudden, you hit a little bit of that bedrock, and you're upside down, wiping yourself off, trying to figure out what just happened.
Well, some of the ladies had went earlier today in via Verbeek. She has a time of 3:25.21. So right now, as far as the ladies goes, that is the time to beat. Right here, 3:25.21 for your Canadian Open DH presented by iXS.
Yeah, good to see Vi get down the hill there. She's had some big injuries the last few years. When she's healthy or recovering, she always shows so much promise. And to be able to come down there in that #1 spot, beating Georgia Asto by 10 seconds, it's a really good start to the day here. But of course, we've got our heavy hitters, our full-time racers. They're out on track right now. These are the ladies that make a paycheck at what they're doing.
Yeah, they're definitely drawing a paycheck for that. Beautiful aerial shots here in Whistler for day number 9 here for your Crankworx. Thanks for joining us on the broadcast. Tristan Merrick and Brad J bringing all the action for you. Here she is right now. Casey Brown going to work right now.
She's down in the lower part of the boneyard, and this is going to favor her right here because all the doubles. So again, airing into that, and I talked about it, it's like a supercross rhythm section here. Massive double over the dual speed and style course. Another double right there. So she's fine in transition, keeping it smooth on and off the table. What's the clock going to say? She powers through.
3:25.47 into second place for Casey Brown. Very close, just .26 behind via Verbeek. So Canada 1, 2, 3, and 4 right now. Jamie Hill in that 4th spot. Georgia Astle in that 3rd spot. Casey Brown nestled now in 2nd. And via Verbeek, time to beat 3:25.21. So just .26 behind. That's pretty darn close, Tristan.
That is very, very close. Again, she's had a full-on week here, Brad, so maybe a little bit of fatigue starting to come in, starting to get a little tired there. The sun's been zapping all the athletes of all their energy here. So if you're not going to bed early and hydrating properly, you're definitely going to be feeling the effects each and every day.
And who is going to bed early here in Whistler during Crankworx? Not too many people, I imagine.
Well, it's so many commitments when you have all these sponsors, right? You got to go to a team dinner, you got to go do a photo shoot at sunrise, you got to go practice for this event and then go compete in that event. So
the spectators have it made because they're just out here hanging out, having a good time, riding their bikes when they can and just enjoying the sights and sounds.
Well, I mean, they get to watch some pretty amazing racing action take place up on the hill, so.
Yeah, and we've watched it grow over the years. Now we take our attention back up top. Tegan Malloy The Australian now about ready to drop in. Right now, it's still that time to beat. That 3:25.21. Vi Verbeek doing that. Casey Brown in second. Georgia Astle in third. Here we go.
It's picking up steam right away. And that's the thing with this course. You don't really just slowly ease into it. You get shot out of the gun right out of the start there. And you probably start hearing the chants from some people up on the hillside there as you're starting to get into the first quarter of the track.
Man, it's packed up there right now, huh?
Standing room only.
Well, they're enjoying the what they're getting to witness today. Canadian Open DH presented by iXS.
And I think the accessibility of this track for all the racers is such a key part, right? And all the fans. The fans can kind of go anywhere. They can watch the race take place. You can change out throughout the entire afternoon. So you can start at the top at the beginning there, you know, see the first few racers drop in, and then as the racers go on, you can slowly start working your way down the hillside, eventually being in the finish for the final racer of the day later on.
Had just a little shot there at Tegan.
Oh, here we go. So little double crossing the road there, slamming into that little pocket berm, and now she's into the part of the track that's open all year long. Word is this is Miranda Miller.
Oh, wait,
no,
she goes
crash.
down.
So there's slick rock right there. Okay, she's up. That is a good sign right there. But that entire corner is slick rock, and she was up at the split right there.
Frustrating.
So I have to see if she can pick it back together, but that corner is a tight right-hander. There's a big log in the corner of that, so you actually kind of slam into the underside of it. And then, of course, slick rock with that dust on it. Traction, you can lose it in an instant.
Boy, that's a tough situation to be in there. You have the split lead right there going into it, and then because of these dusty conditions and because things are getting blown out throughout the whole entire week, things are loose out there, and see Miranda Miller getting loose, so hopefully she's okay, making her way down right now.
I mean, she did jump back up right away, so hopefully that means nothing too serious for her coming down. But again, awesome aerial view that we have here today via the chopper.
Yeah, we got the helicopter, the birds in the air today with some great shots from above. We appreciate all their hard work too, and appreciate everyone who's joined us on all of our broadcasts throughout. Tomorrow, of course, the big slopestyle show, Red Bull Joyride taking place. Make sure you join us for that one as well.
Well, normally this event is on Sunday, and I like that we've changed it over here. So here comes Miranda out of the woods there, opting out of the jump line there, just rolling along. So she's got the Canadian maple leaf on the sleeve there. It means she's national champ, wearing it with pride.
And you see her now getting towards, making her way towards the bottom here.
Yeah, pushing her way along the flats, sitting down, but a crash like that could rattle you, especially when you weren't expecting it. And of course, now the biggest jumps of the entire track down through the bottom section here. So you got that hard left-hander. Again, back on some more of that slick rock in the trees, and then you step down out of it here. Then another double as you air back into the boneyard course. Getting around that takeoff, railing the berm there. So Miranda coming down. You can see dust all over that right-hand side of her body there from that slip out higher up on the track.
Well, she's going to be out of touch with that time. Miranda Miller going to get a couple strokes in, cross the line. Her time's going to be a 3:39.92, fourth place for Miranda Miller with that one. It just seems like having the jumps towards the bottom, when you come down from all the work from the the top section, you get down to the bottom and you feel a little bit tired. You'd almost want those jumps above, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what makes this track so unique is the way we finish off here. When we're in Rotorua, it's just that wide open, out of control underneath the chair. And then, of course, coming into Leger, it was just mud. And looking up top here, so we got, it shows, actually, that's Manon Carpenter in the gate there. So it looks like she's about to drop in here, the 201.
Yeah, that's the 201 plate.
Oh, here we go. Now we got a shot of Tracey here, and she's up at the split, so you can see right here. Now she's diving back into the woods. Nothing but sharp rock into that section there, and it's all diagonal. So you're trying to go across it one way. It's trying to spit you out the other way. And it's the kind of rock that would slice your tire open if you're not careful through there.
It's also the light changes, too, from a nice sunny day, right? You go inside the woods, things get dark, you come back out, you get that sun right in your face.
Well, you nailed that, right? Your eyes do need to adjust as you come in and out. So depending on what brand of eyewear you have on can either assist or hamper that kind of stuff. Definitely the kind of day for a set of Oakley goggles with some prism lenses in there. That makes a huge difference. being able to go in and out. But
well, right now, still the time to beat is the Vi Verbeek with the 3:25.21. There she is right there, the leader on the hot seat, hanging out. And then
okay, here we go. Here comes Tracey. Now she's into the jump section across the top of the boneyard here.
Oh.
Little front end heavy, getting a little kick.
Oh.
Kick on that one as well. So maybe feeling a little tired here. What she got, she's putting down the power right now. Cruising across the top. Staying low, trying to keep her momentum going. Now back into the boneyard section here. So you scoot into the side. Again, this part of the track open year-round. But you can see it's right down to the bedrock there. Those boulders are firmly planted in the dirt. Another jump right here. It looks like she's on a good time, just hitting that 3-minute mark right now. She's just got to get through the rest of the rhythm section here. She's coming down to the line, finding the backside of the transition on that.
Well, here we go. Tracey Hanna, she was 3rd place last year, 1st in 2014, and she takes over the #1 spot. 3:10.92 for Tracey Hanna. Say hello to your new leader. Tracey Hanna doing it. 3rd place last year. Takes the win in 2014, and right now she's got herself a little bit of a lead, doesn't she? 14.29 ahead of Vi Verbeek.
She does have a bit of a lead. Actually, good to see her. She's one of our iXS athletes to check out there. So
let's check in with Hannah Bernard, catch up with Tracey Hanna. Hannah?
Well, we talked about her earlier, guys. This is the girl to beat here today. You came down with the fastest time, just now one more rider. How you feeling, Tracey?
Yeah, pretty puffed out, but this has been what I've been excited about and not sleeping about for the last 2 weeks. So pretty excited to get the run that I wanted, and hopefully I can keep the lead.
Hopefully you can. Best of luck, guys. Back up to you.
I'll tell you what, congratulations right there. If that holds up, Tracey Hanna 3rd last year, 1st in 2014, so she's won it. But you got someone like that. Manon Carpenter up next for you, our final lady to go to upset the balance. See if she can knock Tracey out of that top spot.
yeah, it's her turn to see if she can tame the track here. Coming through the first section, great aerial view right there. Again, you lose a bit of perspective of where all the doubles are and just how much rock it is and how rough and blown out the track is. But you can see that section right there. Beauty looking aerial view.
Heckler's Rock right there in all of its glory. So now we see where Manon Carpenter stacks up against Tracey Hanna. You and I talked about it, Tristan. This is the kind of conditions for Tracey Hanna. She's from Australia. She likes that dry, dusty stuff.
Okay, here comes Manon right there. So she's starting to power her way through the jumps. Keeping the bike looking nice and stable in the air there and finding the transition.
Looks good.
Going almost a little too big into that little roller right there.
But holding on.
Staying across. Okay, she's up 2.82 right now. The telltale sign is when she starts to come in here. When she airs back out of the woods. Tracey was at that 3-minute mark. But she's got to be flawless through the bottom jumps here. If you roll any of them, you're going to start to lose that margin she's already gained here. Doubling out of the woods there now. Airing back into the course. What do we got? The clock says she's a little bit back, Brad. I don't know if she's going to have it here.
She's going to do what she can, trying to air it out. Manon Carpenter coming across. Look at the time right now she can't get Tracey Hanna out of that top spot, but what can she do? Can she break top 3? 2nd place, 3:21.73 for Manon Carpenter into 2nd like that. And that's going to mean that Tracey Hanna is going to come away and take the gold with a 3:10.92. Manon Carpenter checks in at #2 spot, and Vi Verbeek into that 3rd spot, just like that, Tristan.
That is one convincing win right there, Brad. 10 seconds over the nearest competitor. She definitely put the run together that she was looking for and maybe losing sleep over the last 2 weeks.
Well, she talked about it, saying it was trouble sleeping for 2 weeks, waiting for this one. Now, what a big relief right there for Tracey Hanna. She's got to be happy with a very large win out here in the Canadian Open DH presented by iXS. Let's take a look at it. That's how it stacked up right there, Tristan.
There's a lot of Canadians, 3rd through 7th right there, but we talked about it at the top of the show. Tracey Hanna, this was her race, and she really put things together.
Let's check in with Hannah Bernard, standing by with Tracey. Hannah?
She's back on top. She won this event in 2014. You've got the gold again here in the Canadian Open. How do you feel, Tracey?
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, I had a goal in I knew that if I had my best run, like that was going to be my best, and pretty much did it. It was a bit windy, so got a bit sketchy, but yeah, I'm really happy.
You've been so consistent all season long. Top 5, top 10 performances on the World Cup, 2nd in Rotorua, 3rd in Leger. Confidence a big factor here?
Yeah, I think that being confident really helps with your riding, but also just putting no pressure on yourself, which Crankworx, you're just having fun, aren't you? Riding with your friends, and racing is just another fun run. So I love being here and I love the atmosphere.
And I'd like to let you know that you are the series champion for downhill. How does that sound to you?
Yeah, that's awesome. Like, that's my goal at Crankworx, is to win the downhill series, and then I knew what I had to do to take it home, but it's a relief to have done that as well.
Well, congratulations. You're series champion in downhill for Crankworx and your gold medalist here at the Canadian Open Downhill presented by iXS. Tracey Hannah.
Oh, nice catch right there, Hannah. Yes, she is your series champ as well. Not only does she win the battle out here, but she wins the war when it comes down to it. So congratulations to Tracey Hannah. A much-deserved win again. Takes another win on your Canadian Open DH presented by iXS. Stay with us. We got the dudes. They are locked and loaded and ready to do battle on this course for you. The top guys on the way. Stay with us right here. It's Crankworx Whistler.
$60,000 trails in your pocket. Trailforks. Download the free app now.
Crankworx Whistler brought to you by Whistler Mountain Bike Park. Love the feeling of being truly awake. And by Dose.ca, your entertainment fix. And by Samsung. Live connected with Samsung. And by Jeep. All right, so we finished up with the ladies. The guys are coming up, but one of my favorite parts, I keep telling you this every time we talk, and that's the big number today. Is it about a person? Is it about something else? What's the big number today, Tristan?
Well, we have lots of options, but we decided to go with a person. We decided to go with the last round in Leger.
Fair
Who
enough.
did we see win? Well, we saw Remy Thirion take the win there, first of the Crankworx World Tour. So the first number we want to break down, because there's a lot of history with him, is the number 14.
Number 14.
The reason why we're going with the number 14, well, that was the age he was at last time that they had world champs in Leger. So a very impressive age from the onslaught there. So he watched it race back then, and then he went out and did it this year.
All right, 14, that's the age. All right, that's big number one. How about number 2?
Well, 26, that was the age that he took the win there in Crankworx Leger earlier this year. So a good little jump back and forth. We wanted to show some compare and contrast. Young kid, saw the race, then won the race himself. And of course, the biggest thing, this guy's accomplished so much throughout the year, but it's one win. He has one Crankworx stop win there. Can he make it here today? One could only think that this track, the rough, raw, and jaggedness of it, he might be able to lay it on the line and make that 2.
Could it be Thirion? Well, there's a lot of guys standing in between his way trying to make things happen. But let's take a look at the leaderboard for your Crankworx Championship D8 series so far. This is how it's stacking up. Loic Bruni and Bas van Steenbergen and Remy Thirion all tied with that #1 spot, 150 points. And you got Brooke McDonald in that 4th spot right there. That's how it's playing out right there for your championship D8 standings. Well, I'll tell you what, I mean, it's a tight one all the way down to it. I mean, this is decided on day 9. That's pretty cool stuff.
It is. These guys have been trying to stay healthy and stoked all week. They've been doing so many events. That's the problem with it, right? We just load up the schedule. They're competing every day, and they still got to put it all on the line. It's the final race here of the week. Well,
another one of our great events that we do out here, it's not on the broadcast, but it's up there. I tell you, it's one of my favorite ones to watch if you've ever seen it, because it's all about the whip. Why don't you check out the best whip competition here at Crankworx and show you how it went down. Take a look.
Welcome to Crankworx Whip Off. It's gonna be sick out there. It's gonna be some rad stuff. Go see it. Woo!
Welcome everybody, this is the official Whip Off World Championship presented to you by Spank. I'm Ryan Meyer, and this is the action that we had out here today.
I think everybody has their own style of whip. I don't know if it depends on your background, but I guess the racers are better at kind of scrub whipping.
I try and like sit up a bit wider on the lip and then kind of carve up like as you're going up like a bowl or something, and then carve, turn, tweaky.
It's kind of hard to whip an enduro bike as much as a downhill bike. Speed is way different to hit the jumps. Trail bike is so much lighter that wind can throw you off and you can nosedive, so you want to be smooth and you can afford a lot of mistakes, so let's take it easy.
And I, in particular, kind of like to pop. I can't really get one out of a scrub. But that's what's sweet about a whip, is everyone does them different, and everyone's learned their own way since they started riding and how to do a whip.
Be wary of the wind and trying to plan it so you don't go and then get blown and just absolutely kook yourself.
I'm just pretending it's not windy. Just ignore the wind and try to get her out there and hopefully be able to get her back.
How's the race going so far?
Oh, it's a good race, good race. Good race.
The most important key to a perfect whip is at least losing 1 or 2 spokes on the landing. And our speaker is a must.
The good thing about the Jandal is you've got a bit of float on the foot,
Right.
so yeah, lets you rotate the body a bit more and really lay it in for the whips.
about to get it underway. The top riders.
Now we're going to start with our ladies. In first place, Casey Brown. Alan Cook. Third place, my man, get up here, Thomas Vanderham. Second place, crazy consistent, crazy smooth. I like to call Finn Isles up here. Once again, Finn is taking the win.
Champion!
Oh, thank you so much for watching that one right there, breaking down the best whip. Now we join the action here. Your Canadian Open DH presented by iXS. Mitchell Pilato, whoa, he's had a busy Crankworx, hasn't he, Tristan?
He has. He's been putting on a show, riding strong all week long. We talked about it the first time we saw him here earlier this week. Seems like the spark is back. He's got a little bit of fire in his eyes. He's got something to prove. He did that at the pump track. He did that at dual slalom, and now here for downhill. Only 2 seconds back right now from Kirk McDowell. Kirk's sitting on the hot seat at the moment. Kirk's been on a tear all year long here with the Canada Cups and BC Cups, destroying the competition, but he's facing off against the World Cup class here today. So if Mitch can get through the jumps nice and smooth here again, right up his wheelhouse, this is the kind of thing that he'll excel at and do really well. Dealing with a little bit of a crosswind there. So going around that jump seems to be a lot faster as he's now coming in down to the lower section of the track. Does he double out the whole thing now, just staying on, off?
And the time going to check in for Mitch Pilato. That's a 2:55.87, sixth place, giving you your top three right now. You got Craig Evans in that third spot with a 2:53.51. Then Chris Kovark in the number 2 spot, 2:53.10 for him. These are riders that came down earlier. And Kirk McDowell right now, the time to beat 2:49.13. Look at that, he's signing autographs right when he gets to the bottom. That's awesome.
That's how you make it happen. That's how you stoke the fans of tomorrow.
And now we're talking about, looks like that is ELIOT Jackson right there from Westlake out of the U.S. And here he comes right now. ELIOT Jackson dropping in. This will be his run, looking to try and beat a 2:49.13.
So ELIOT's been hucking the jumps pretty far, and he's up right now at the split. So the split right when you come out of the trees there. So he was up when he was coming into the flats. Let's see if he can keep it together at the bottom here. 1 second, not a lot of time to play with. Again, scrubbing off that. We've got course marshals out there even trying to keep down the dust on the other parts of the track again. Running really, really dry. Aaron over the dual speed and style course from the other night.
Here he comes.
Keeping it low and hucking over the entire tabletop.
Gapping it across the time, 2:49.03 into the number 1 spot for USA's ELIOT Jackson. He'll take the hot seat with a 2:49.03.
So ELIOT Jackson, he's no stranger to the podium at Crankworx. Excelled in Rotorua 2 years ago with that podium position, and now he's sitting in that hot seat right there, airing over that table at the very end, Brad, just going, I'm not going to go on and off, I'm just going to go over.
And you and I were talking about that. Who's going to gap the whole thing? Are people going to try and just go straight over it, or are they just going to do it, go over the first part, and then trying to just jump over the second?
Well, you and I watched practice, and we saw a bunch of people do things to their bike that they shouldn't be doing to it, and sounds were coming out of their bikes that just made me cringe. And his bike was like butter going up and over.
Well, it should be looking at Alexandra Feolix and Thibaut Ruffin, then Harry Heath. Jack Moir all still to come right now. The Canadian Open DH, presented by iXS. And ELIOT Jackson moving right into that hot seat.
Only a hair ahead of Kirk McDowell. Kirk running that national champs jersey there. So we got the 2.9 up in the gate right there. Ruffy and Thibaut, one of our French-born riders. Again, national champ as well. He's got that sleeve on the left arm there. So any of the downhill riders, left arm, left sleeve. That's how you can tell if they've been the top in their country right there.
And a great aerial coverage as well.
It's a little bit back on that first split, 3.30, but still a lot of track left there.
So can you make something up like that, Tristan, when it's 3.3, you're that far back? Do you have time to make that up in the rest?
I mean, I would think you could make up a little bit of time, but in talking to the athletes, right, if you start risking it, with these conditions, it can definitely bite you really, really fast. So again, an errant rock that's maybe been kicked out from the rider in front of you.
Sure.
A little bit of dust on some of the slippery rock faces there, and all of a sudden you're sliding out. So a lot can go wrong. But if you're a gambling man, you can definitely put it all on black and try and make it happen.
Well, you know, it is day 9, right? This is the last DH race of Crankworx out here for 2016.
So scrubbing off that first jump. So 3 seconds back still with that split.
See what Ruffin can do towards the bottom here, airing it out.
Okay, so going triple. So rather than airing over that jump, landing on the first landing, and then dealing with the single roller afterwards, doubled over top of that for the triple jump. And you can see awesome view here. You can see the course for Red Bull Joyride. Of course, that'll be going down tomorrow morning. But it's all about downhill here today.
And as you mentioned, downhill was formerly on Sundays, now on Saturday.
I like this format. I like this. So again, Ruffian cruising through here, gone past the time of what Elliot Jackson has done, going on and off the table there, not going the entire way over it. Good enough for a top 10 position right there, 7 seconds back.
Yeah, 2.56, 2.58, Ruffin right there, but still no change in that top spot. Elliot Jackson, 2:49.03 for the American in that top spot. But there is a whole bunch of guys still to come out here.
There is a lot of people who have something to say about that standings right now.
They sure do. And they will let their riding do the speaking for them as they make their way down. Thanks for joining us out here. Thanks for joining us on the broadcast. Canadian Open DH presented by iXS. Tristan Merrick, Brad J.
Everybody running the strap there. Long live Chainsaw.
Yeah, hashtag long live Chainsaw indeed. All right, now we take all of our attention up top. Harry Heath, he has been busy, and he's been on a good one. Second place in the Fox Air DH this week here in Whistler.
I mean, I got to give a shout out to this guy. He announced a few weeks back at the end of the season he's going to be retiring from full-time downhill racing. Something tells me we'll still see him at Crankworx every so often, but great to see him get a podium here earlier this week and what could be his final year of full-time racing.
Yeah,
so a little bit back at the second split there, 4.36. And you're not, unfortunately, going to make that time up here through the lower stages of the track.
Oh, he got second to Bas van Steenbergen, who got the win in the Fox Air DH. As Harry Heath, as he cruised down the bottom, look, he's past the Elliot Jackson time. He's going to pedal across the line. The time's going to be for him. That's a 2:5.49, so 6th place for Harry Heath. A very respectable finish out here, second in the Fox Air DH the other day. Harry Heath done for the day.
Teammates with Sam Blinkensop, so we'll have to see what his teammate can do later on when he drops in.
Let's take a look at our next rider we're going to be looking at here. Jack Moir now.
Another rider that's been doing very well this year, Brad, with all the results again.
3rd in Leger, so a podium finish in Leger, stop number 2 on the Crankworx World Tour.
Yep. The Australian dealt with the super muddy conditions. He's only 1 second back. That's actually pretty good right now. And you can just see the body English there scrubbing over the jumps and running a very different style. Okay, he's up by 2 seconds now, so he's found some time in the middle part of the track. I was going to comment, very different style. He's got a real high front end on that bike there. Bigger riser bars, looks like 30 mils. Running the fork fully extended there, high rise stem on that. Getting as much height as he can, but it seems to be working for him right now. Again, scrubbing over all of those jumps, railing that berm over the dual speed and style course as he's coming now down in the final.
Here we go, 3rd place in Leger for Jack Moir. What's he going to check in with here today? 2:46.99, your new leader, Jack Moir, getting her done, number 1. And so that means Elliot Jackson knows the drill. He will move over to the 2nd spot over there in the hot seat. Jack Moir will take over the top spot. I got to think conditions favoring the Aussies.
Yeah, I mean, I think you kind of got to go with that. Again, he's been riding strong. He had a couple years of injuries, and it's just good to see him healthy, happy, and laying down the charge here.
And doing it by a good 2.04 ahead of Elliot Jackson. So 2:46.99 time to beat. Romain Paulhan now. French rider coming in hot.
I got a chance to ride with this guy in Leger. Got right off the plane, built my bike, and went up and did the course preview stuff there, and he was leading me down the track. An extremely talented rider.
Were you keeping up with him?
No, I'm not even gonna lie. I brought a spoon to the knife fight. I had my trail bike. He had his downhill bike. I had regular, dry, intermediate tires. He had full-blown cut spikes on.
And he knows the area. That's where he's from. That's where he rides a lot.
But again, very different conditions here today. Overall, nice guy. Again, the fun fact with him is he actually won the trip out here because he won the playing Crankworx Fantasy there. He actually won the trip because he got all the picks right.
Let that be a lesson. If you're playing Crankworx Fantasy, you have a chance to win a trip for 2 out to New Zealand next year.
He was coming here anyways, though, because he loves it each and every year. So gone past the time of Jack here, but what's going to stack into as he crosses the line here.
That's a 2:55.75. That's a top 10 right there for Romain. 2:55 for him, so he'll land in that 9th spot. No changes. 3-2-1. Kirk McDowell in 3rd. Let's show you what's going on right now. Here's our leaderboard. You can see McDowell, who I was just talking about, 2:49.13 in that 3rd spot. Elliot Jackson into 2nd, and Moir now 2:46.99. That's the time to beat. That's a good one right there. There's plate 25, Graeme Mudd. Another Aussie in the mix right now. Could these conditions favor all the Aussies? We saw it with Tracey Hannah taking the win earlier for the ladies.
Graeme Mudd winning the I'm getting caught up here, man. It's like too many days in a row. He won the dual slalom back in the day, so he was a little bit back at the first split. We'll have to wait and see what the second split here says for us.
Not far back, though, 1.38.
No, if he didn't lose any time in that middle section.
Oh.
Okay, yeah, losing even more time there. So again, huge chunk in that middle of the track where a lot of things can go wrong. You start to lose a bit of momentum. You traverse across the hillside. Could have gotten tangled up a little bit or hung up on an errant rock or root that's been dislodged on the track. But Graeme Mudd flowing down through the bottom part of the track here. I think it's just cool for us, Brad, right? We've seen these Australians come over here year after year after year, watching them grow, develop, perfect their craft with the racing.
And here comes Graeme Mudd, 2:54.47. So now he takes over the 6th spot right there. Yeah, indeed. And there's a lot of Aussies that call Whistler home nowadays, aren't there?
Yeah, we open them, or we welcome them with open arms each and every day and every year. But Jack in the hot seat right now, 2 seconds clear of his nearest competitor.
That's what you want to do, 2:46.99. But he knows too that's not safe. He knows there's a lot of heavy hitters, a lot of danger men, if you will, that'll be coming up.
Well, that being said, though, it is a short track. It is sub 3 minutes, so I would expect some tight times at the end of the day between our competitors here. It's not going to be a blowout or anything like that.
And you see the difference between 2.04 seconds between Elliot Jackson in 2nd and Jack Moir in that top spot. So Australia, USA, Canada. Take a look at it right there. There you go. There's Kirk McDowell. There's that Canadian flag in that 3rd spot. 2.14 off the top time of Jack. Got Elliot Jackson in 2nd. He's 2.04 from that top time of Moir with a 2:46.99.
Just beautiful day here for Saturday.
Beautiful, just like 10 days, isn't it?
It's been non-stop amazingness. Other than, I'm not going to complain about the heat. It's just a little taxing on our athletes from practice and riding and racing all day. So
that's a good point, Tristan.
That's a huge aspect of it. And I think in the last couple of years we haven't really seen it to the same degree. But here this year, I mean, the heat has just been taking it out of them. And you can't really help it, right? They're kids in candy stores. They only get to ride the Whistler Bike Park once a year. They come here for Crankworx. They see all their friends. They just want to do laps. But then, the heat definitely will start to take its toll on you.
And it definitely one of those situations you're trying to come away with the king. You're trying to come away with the queen of Crankworx. You got series titles on the line. You got so many competitions. You just got to keep it together. Bryn Dickerson now coming in next from New Zealand.
His turn here. Again, coming into the first little bit there, that's the entrance into Schlaer. So the upper section of Canadian Open kind of consists of a bunch of roofs in that corner before airing out of the trees there. So first split, 2 seconds back. See if he's able to make up any time in that middle section of the track there. Staying low over the jumps, not wasting much energy with that as well.
And I like seeing him getting those pedal strokes in, but he is out of touch with it by 9:42 behind the time. So it looks like Jack Moir will dodge another one here and will remain in that top spot as Bryn Dickerson, the Kiwi, makes his way down.
Again, we're in our finals right now. Top 30 men. We've already seen our pro women come down, wrap up their day. And congratulations to Tracey Hanna there for taking the W. For Bryn Dickerson, his turn to tame the track here.
And Bryn's going to come across the time in for him. That's a 2:58.12, 15th spot for Bryn Dickerson. And done for the day for Bryn, with just about 19 more riders trying to stand in the way of Jack Moir taking away the gold medal out here today. Elliot Jackson in the silver medal position and Kirk McDowell in a bronze medal position right now. Australia, USA, Canada, 1, 2, 3 is how it's playing out. There's your standings right there in the upper right. Chris Kovarik in that 4th spot, 2:53.10.
Look at that lift line looking pretty minimal down there right now.
Just jump right in there in the Fitzsimmons chair and head on up, right?
Why not? But Village looking packed there. People looking like ants as they walk around.
Yeah, it's so different seeing Saturday being the changeover. Now that slopestyle is on Sunday. And now we got, of course, your Canadian Open DH presented by iXS here on your Saturday now. Alex Marin going to be the next guy to go from Spain.
I got to think this guy's got some pretty good stories with some of the funniest teammates out there in the world. Josh Carlson, Johan Borelli, Marcel Gartires. So 1 second back at the first split. Wait for the second split here. Looking great through the jumps. Looking strong. Look at the power.
Look at the difference, like having that 1 second difference and then adding 3 more onto that through that midsection right there. That just shows you how tough that section is.
Oh, I think only losing 3 is kind of the least of your worries.
Right?
You can lose a lot more time through that middle section. A lot of things can go wrong if you're overcooking a corner, not finding the flow through something, not getting over the roots, or just not committing 100%. It is extremely difficult through the bottom part, but
keeping it down right there. A couple more pedal strokes across. That's 4th place. Hey, that's a respectable top 4. 2:52.23. Alex Marin from Spain.
Well, Alex chatting to his team manager, but look at this. So coming off the first jump, scrubbing really hard, kind of going off the side of the jump right there. Lots of body English on these first 3 jumps. And then look at the power. He's just almost peeling out as he's going across there. It's a downhill race, but he's got some serious watts going through those cranks.
And just trying to keep that, the word momentum comes to mind on that one. Trying to keep that momentum up, trying to get a fast time in there. Wherever you can sneak in those pedal strokes, that's what you need to do. Let's focus now to the top of the course for our next rider. As people are filing on in. Here we go, plate number 21, Rory Cunningham now out of Great Britain.
Rory, just one of those guys that's so talented on whatever bike you put him underneath. Let it be racing the Enduro World Series, winning stages at the Tweed Love Rounds. In the past, and look at that. So at the first split, he was up by 0.23. Was he able to keep it together now through the middle part of the track? So he's lost time. He has lost time right there, 3.42 back. Maybe spending a little bit too much time on the trail bike, not enough time on the downhill bike here. Again, not really a full-time racer so much nowadays. But it's going to be still a strong result. That's not too far back in the scheme of things, Brad.
Here we go, Rory Cunningham. Trying to stay high up on those burns, trying to land on the transitions. Look at that, there we go. Airing that one out, putting it down on the tranny, clearing the whole tabletop. That's going to be a 2:50.92. Top 4, Rory Cunningham. All right, let's talk a little bit about the rhythm. Let's talk about the flow and the rhythm in the last section, Tristan.
Well, you can see him right here. So it's just an easy step down out of the woods. And then this is where you air up and over. So finding the backside of the transition, kind of casing that inside there a little bit. So zapping a bit of momentum, but not overshooting these next few jumps, staying nice and low on that. We keep talking about it all week long with our other disciplines like pump track and dual slalom. You got to not get too much air. If you're able to stay on the ground, you're able to keep the, keep the cranks going, get some pedal strokes in, but you can't case the jump that you stay so low because then you start losing momentum.
So it's kind of a fine line when it comes down to it. Now we look at number 20, plate number 20 there, Nico Malali from the U.S.
We haven't seen this kid this much this year due to injury. So he's coming back off, pretty sure a collarbone there. The kind of classic mountain biker injury, but extremely fast, extremely talented. We're waiting for him to come into view right now.
Here he is.
There and out. So at the first split, he was less than 0.5 back. Let's just hope maybe we got to that camera before him there. Staying low over the jump. So going to the side, you can see not taking off in the middle and keeping it as straight as he can and catching less air. So 4 seconds, but he's the head bobber of pedalers. When he starts pedaling really hard, the head starts bobbing up and down for anybody that follows his racing. Going to the inside in that berm, so not railing around the outside. See if, getting a little loose. So that's what we're talking about with the dry, dusty conditions out there. If you don't nail the line 100%, it's pretty easy to get a little drifty. You have to unclip your foot. You lose some momentum, grabbing a bit of brake, trying to get the bike upright and settle it back in.
Well, here we go to the final jump over the tabletop. And he's going to come across. The time for him is going to be a 2:51.84 for Nico Malali. Top 5 right there for him. You know, we can actually, you look at all these different jumps, and you've been talking about so many different lines on the jumps, which way you want to take, right?
Yeah, so hitting the hip jump right there, crossing over the trail, but you can see him going really close to the side. And again, look at how far to the right he is. So he's not taking off at the kind of maximum height of the jump, which then means you're keeping the bike lower to the ground, less air time, quicker to get on the cranks. And it's good to see Nico healthy back out here racing with us right now.
And he'll check in, as we said, top 5 for him, 2:51.84. Let's take a look at how things are looking so far. Nico Malali in that 5 spot. Rory Cunningham in the number 4 spot. Kirk McDowell in 3. Elliot Jackson from the U.S. number 2. And Australian Jack Moir, 2:46.99. I think it's time to check in with Hannah Bernard, who's down in the mix right now. Hannah, what's going on?
Thanks very much, guys. Well, we have chatted about the Downhill Series Championship for the ladies, but now let's talk about the men. So how it's looking right now, it's actually a 3-way tie between 3 riders. Bas van Steenbergen, Loic Bruni, and Remy Thierrien. So Bas is not racing, Loic is not racing, but Remy is. So basically, all Remy has to do is get down this track, and he is gonna walk away with the championship. I actually let Bas know that. He was going to race earlier today, but he wasn't feeling it. He's very tired, he's had a very busy week. He's pretty disappointed right now. He's like, I really, really wish I would have raced, but it's up to Remy now if he gets down this course today, guys.
Thanks so much, Hannah. Maybe Hannah should have told him earlier that, and then he could have planned to race that today.
I mean, she's been talking to him enough all week. We'll have to, try and get on that a little bit more, but there's no bonus with winning that other than the prestige of taking it home going, you know what, I was best at all 3 rounds of downhill.
Yeah, you know what, though, in Bas's defense, I will say this is his best Crankworx that he has ever had as far as positioning and winning the Fox Air DH and getting up there on podiums, battling his brother in the Cliff Bar dual speed and style. It's been awesome for him.
It has, and why not finish it on a high rather than, anything could happen in this track, as we've seen with some crashes already. Can reach out and grab you when you least suspect it. So he's going home healthy, happy, a little tired, a little fatigued, but time for a little rest for that guy.
Kind of like the Jill Kittner story, too, if you think about it. I mean, she won the Queen. She did everything she could do. She won it by so far. She didn't need to ride today. She was on the start list, but you and I talked this morning. We didn't think she was going to ride either.
No, race when you can win your battles. Don't race when you know you're going to lose your battles.
It's a long season, isn't it, Tristan?
It is. It's been a very long year. Again, we started in Rotorua way back in March, so it is August now. So if you're starting to feel a little worn out, it's definitely warranted.
Wow. Seems like that was a year ago that we were out there in Rotorua. Well, more guys coming down for you. We'll keep you updated on the times right now. Jack Moir, he's done his thing. He's your leader right now. We'll be back with more riders cross line. Stay with us. Canadian Open DH presented by iXS. We'll be right back right after this.
To be the best, you have to go all in. We're all in, 100% dedicated to one bike. The 12-speed Cassette's 10 to 50-tooth spread gives you a 500% gear range. This is Eagle, the all-new generation of one-by drivetrain technology from the company that lives one-by.
For 75 years, Jeep has been a class leader in 4x4 capability, pushing 4x4 fuel economy farther and finding comfort zones in an award-winning interior. They say it's lonely at the top, but finding parking is a breeze.
4x4 today, tomorrow, and never say never.
Jeep Cherokee, with attractive financing offers now available.
Well, thanks for joining us on the broadcast. Thanks for joining us here in Skiers Plaza. This is how things are looking at it right now. Your top 5, Mullally in that 5th spot, Cunningham 4, McDowell 3. And then you look at number 2, Elliot Jackson and Jack Moir, as Jack Redding now dropping in here. And the Canadian Open DH presented by iXS here. Day 9 of Crankworx.
Jack, the team manager, the Division 1 team that he races for here, used to live back here back in the day. So only 1 second back at that first split. Extremely talented rider, coming off his first top 20 result there at the Mount St. Anne World Cup.
Oh.
Boosting these jumps, so looking good through here.
Maybe just a little too much hang time, you think, maybe?
Yeah, jumps aren't necessarily his thing. He kind of said that the other day after the Air DH. He enjoys Garbo railing that corner there. You can see him snap in and out of that. But yeah, he enjoys the long technical tracks. Doesn't necessarily enjoy jumping so much, not really his forte. But it's just good to see him back out here after all these years. Getting a little crazy off that. So again, riders purposely taking that one jump so they can bring down the speed and get through that left-hander.
And Jack Redding, he's going to come across. The time for him is going to be a 2:54.08. Top 10 right there in 9th place. All right, we talk a lot about different ways to land, but when you case and jump, that's not the sweet spot, is it?
No, so you can see him here, airing out of the woods, lands that one perfect, and then you pop into this, which brings you into the boneyard. But it's this next one here, the riders are going to the side, and you kind of tag it a little bit. You got to tag it properly, and that one looked like he zapped a little bit of speed on it, losing some forward momentum.
You got to land on the transition to keep that momentum going forward all the way through. That helps you get those times. There it is, the hashtag long live chainsaw.
Again, Division 1 Global Racing with Jack Redding there.
Jack Moir, your current leader right now, 2:46.99. That's the best time so far of the day, and that belongs to Jack Moir from Australia, 2:46.99. Elliot Jackson, you can see him on the right-hand side of Jack. But now we go up to Adam Brayton, plate 16 now. Adam Brayton 4th at Fort William.
Don't let that casual stance in the start gate there fool ya. This guy will be going big off the jumps here. Gas to flat as he is known. No stranger to hucking the entire way down the track. Tagging the jump a little bit off of that. So back at the first split by 1 second. Let's see when he gets the second split here, if he made up any time across that. Getting loose along there and railing that left-hander. Now down into the lower stage of the boneyard here. Again, super slippery corner right there in the woods. You can see the crosswind picking up a little bit more. So him airing out the jump there, finding the backside of that transition and keeping it nice and smooth, Brad.
And that's what you got to do right there. Adam Brayton, here we go. What's the time for Adam Brayton? Well, that happens to be a 2:50.64, top 5, 4th place for Brayton. And no change in your 1, 2, 3. He'll nestle into that 4th spot. 3.65 seconds behind Jack Moir from Australia, who's got the best time of the day for the dudes at 2:46.99. Jack Moir in the top spot. Elliot Jackson, number 2. Oh man, it comes down to Sam Blankensop, who's coming up for you next. Sam Blankensop is trying to come away with the King of Crankworx title. What he needs to do, he has to finish in the top 5 today. If Sam Blankensop can end up in the top 5 when everything is said and done for the day, he will be the King of Crankworx. If he does not get in that top 5, Thomas Slavic will be the King of Crankworx, and he's not competing today. So Blanky should be on course. Here's a look at him right there. There's Sam Blankensop.
Well, Brad, you really set the tone there with the story. There is a lot on the line for this run here. And I'm not making this up. It's 25 G's that's on the line right now if he can come down and end up in that top 5 overall.
And he had said that it wasn't that big of a concern on his. I call bull to that. $25,000 in bragging rights is a lot of money.
Oh, look at that first split. He was only 0.19 back. Staying over the jumps, pedaling in the air. This is classic Sam style there. Landing into the manual. It's only 2 seconds back. He's got to put in some work now through the bottom part of the track. Staying low, trying to get out of the wind there. Keep the maximum efficiency going. Again, Sam Blankensop currently in second right now for your King of Crankworx, but by only 45 points. So mathematically, he's just got to be in the top 5 at the end of the day, but he's got work to do right now. He's 2 seconds back. He's flowing now down through the rhythm section, pedaling in the air off of each and every jump.
Here we go. Here comes Sam Blankensop. Can he do it? He needs a top 5 finish to win the King. 2:49.13, third place for Blanky. If he can hold on to that top 5, he will come away and be the King of Crankworx for 2016. Solid out of Blanky right there. You know he would like to be a little bit higher up than that spot.
Yeah, not to rain on the parade, Brad, but there is 11 people left. But look at the style here. So this is what Sam is known for. No gloves, scrubbing off the jumps and pedaling in the air, keeping it going. And then look at that, landing on the jump in a manual and then going over the roller right away after that.
Well, now it's pretty darn close. You look at the times. Blanky and Kirk McDowell both with the same times, 2:49.13. You know, Blanky would like to have a little bit of a better time to feel a little bit more breathing room on this one, but it is what it is at this point. Blanky in third, 2:49.13, 2.14 off the top pace. Now we take it back up top. Plate number 14, Lloyd Greenland now.
Yeah, first year elite racing. This is a guy who was crushing it as a junior last year at the World Cups. Good to see him here at Whistler competing at Crankworx. Oh, back at the first split, back at the second split. So not necessarily his run for him here. Definitely had him as a bit of a dark horse pick if he was able to put things together. A real big threat for the podium. As he's cruising down here. Again, just all these elite level riders for men and women. So much style through these jumps, Brad.
Well, and he's going to be out of touch with that one. So Greenland, 2:58.72, 23rd for him with 10 more riders to go to upset the balance and stand between Jack Moir taking the big win out here. And now Blankensop, all he can do, Blanky could just sit and wait and see if that holds up. If he could stay in that top 5, he would come away with the King of Crankworx. Let's check in with Hannah Bernard. She's down there in the mix. What's going on down there, Hannah?
Well, I'm just standing next to Sam Blankensop. We've been talking about this all day, the King of Crankworx title. You have to score in the top 5 here today in order to walk away with it. You're in third right now. How comfortable do you feel, Sam?
Not really. I don't know. I wish it was better, but yeah, it's just the way the track was. Yeah, it was really slick. I tried to, I don't know, I thought about the points too much. I was like, what are you doing, you idiot? Come on, just pin it. And then after I did that, and I just got real wild and made quite a few mistakes. But I'm so happy how I rode. It's, yeah, it's just been an awesome week. Crankworx, yeah, and I'm stoked just to ride my bike. It's cool.
Well, 10 more riders left to come. Third spot, best of luck, Sam. Guys, back up to you.
Well, he's not going to have any fingernails left if he's going to be biting his fingernails on this one right now, because you got the king from last year, Bernard Kerr now, 2015 King of Crankworx. Kind of funny we go from Blanky, who's trying to make a bid for it this year, to last year's king.
These guys are all friends, so do you think one of the friends maybe throws race? Look at this! Oh. So first split, up by 0.54.
What's the second split going to mean for
Scrubbing
Kerr?
off the jumps here. I was going to say to your friends, maybe throw it in the tank there. So he's only 1.38 back, so lost a little bit of time.
This also could be trouble for Sam Blankensop. This could bump him down a notch if Kerr was able to be ahead of him.
I mean, Sam talking about it yesterday, he wasn't really thinking about the points too much, and then, of course, just admitting right now, thinking about him way too much. But Bernard Kerr, he's on track right now, coming down, getting around that jump there, flowing through this. He's got to be loving this section of the track.
Oh, look at this. The king from last year. What's he going to get in with? A 2.48.22 into second place, and that's going to bump Sam Blankensop down to fourth just like that. So he's not the spoiler, but he does his job and gets into second. Let's talk about scrubbing here for a second, Tristan.
So off that first jump, kind of that classic BMX style pull up, not really catch any air off of it. Same with that, and then you can see him, he's gonna scrub this jump, kicking it out to the side, finding the transition, and then just doubling over that. A lot of riders we saw earlier trying to do the triple. You can do it, but more air time means less time on the ground, being able to pedal across those flats.
Well, taking a look at Kerr as he's high-fiving. Elliot Jackson will be bumped into third. Kerr will go to second. Take a look at it right now. There's the numbers right there. They're not lying. Elliot Jackson, third place for the USA. Kerr in that second spot for Great Britain. And Jack Moir, 2:46.99. But there's Blanky tied for fourth with Kirk McDowell right there. Oh, this is a close one. This is all coming right down to it. Canadian Open DH is presented by the good people over there at iXS. And more riders, about 9 more in the mix on the way when we come back.
Big baseline, I'm a vibe to that. Big baseline, I'm a.
Workout started.
I'm 2 on beat, popping everybody coming in the 2 on 3. I know you can't see. Baby girl, I know you want me. Looks hot cause I got that thing. Big bird jacket got me looking like this. Did it how they didn't want to do it for the kid. It's Buzz Bro, proud of what you know. If you can't sing, step on the line, I'm a cool. I'll be hot stepping in my Air Max pool. Did it for the team, I'ma do it for the crew.
$60,000 trails in your pocket. Trailforks. Download the free app now.
Oh, yeah, it's all about Crankworx Whistler, third and final stop on your Crankworx World Tour. That's how things are looking right now. Sam Blankensop tied for fourth with Kirk McDowell. Then you got Elliot Jackson third, Bernard Kerr last year's king, and Jack Moir in the #1 spot. Best time of the day, 2:46.99. So the Aussies looking like they're in control so far. What are you thinking, Tristan?
I mean, strong showing. We kind of had that prediction earlier on today. They might be the ones that can deal with the dust and the loose conditions more than all the other competitors out there. So there's still 9 more people to go here. So.
Well, you know, there's so many different trails out here to ride, and there's so many different trails that we would consider that are the signature trails here at Whistler, and we've been highlighting them all week long, and we're going to continue to do that right now.
Yeah, well, we're going to check into the Garbanzo zone, and that is no joke at the very top of the hill there. And just a blast up top. A variety of terrain up here. We've got some shots of Captain Safety. This is a no joke there, triple hump. If you've ridden the bike park, you've seen that. And Garbanzo zone just untamed up there. Rugged, ruthless on the bike, but so beautiful at the same time with the old growth forest and everything else in between, Brad.
Just amazing sights all the way through. If you get a chance to get out here and you're watching the broadcast, make the road trip. Come out here and experience this firsthand for yourself.
It's an experience that you will never, ever forget. If you want to come here, just make it happen. Mow the lawn, deliver the paper, do whatever you can for allowance money, because this is the place you want to be.
Yeah, indeed. I'll tell you what, first time I came out here 11 years ago and got a chance to see this for the first time, I tell you what, I was so amazed by what this place has to offer. And you look at it right there and you'll see what Whistler is all about. All right. I think it's time to check in with our current leader right now. We got Jack Moir standing by. Jack, how you feeling, man?
Good, thanks. How you guys?
We're doing good up here.
Yeah, so Jack, I mean, talk to us about the course conditions out there. We kind of had the Australians picked here to be able to tame the loose, dusty conditions. Did it work in your favor?
Yeah, it's definitely like a track back home, just pretty short, super dusty and loose. So I think, yeah, it's going to play into Aussie's favor. So
I gotta ask you, you got a different setup on your bike there. You got a pretty high front end compared to all the other competitors. Does that make it easy to get through the big holes that have formed throughout the practice and the race?
yeah, I don't know, just set it up like that's what feels comfortable. I guess I'm a bit taller than some guys, so I don't like the feeling of the bike leaning in at the front. So yeah, I got the TR Spring spacer under there to jack it up a bit.
Nice. Well, we saw you get on the podium in Leger. Do you think you did enough here today?
I don't know. There's a fair few fast guys here, and you got to push real hard because it's such a short track. So I don't know. It'd be good, but we'll see what happens.
Well, we're going to let you sweat it out in the hot seat there a little bit longer. Thanks for the inside scoop of how things are going. And, yeah, don't bite your nails all the way off.
Nah, no worries.
All right, thank you so much, Jack Moir right there.
Cheers.
He's got the best time, 2:46.99 is what that is going on for him. So that's why he's holding on to that one. And now we're just down to our final riders. What, we got about 9 or 10 riders left here in the mix to see if they can upset that time. And Jack didn't feel too comfortable about it, did he?
Yeah, but you know what? He's got a little bit of a margin right now. You know, he says his riding style suits this track. There's some fast guys to come, but as we've seen, if you gamble too much on it, it can sting you.
Yeah, and when we talk about the conditions, that's the deal right there. You got to deal with that. You want to push it, but you don't want to push it too hard. But then if you want to get on the podium, you got to have to push it. So 2:46.99, that's the time to beat. And our top 10 dudes, they're on the way for you. Don't go anywhere. More coming up. Canadian Open DH presented by iXS when we come back.
To be the best, you have to go all in. We're all in. 100% dedicated to one bike. The 12-speed Cassette's 10 to 50-tooth spread gives you a 500% gear range. This is Eagle, the all-new generation of one-by drivetrain technology from the company that lives one by.
What is luxury? For Jeep Grand Cherokee, it's premium leather. And being ready for anything with best-in-class 4x4 capability and the confidence of select terrain. For the luxury of going wherever the adventure takes you. Jeep Grand Cherokee, the most awarded SUV ever. 75 years in the making. Attractive lease rates now available.
And a big welcome back to Whistler. And our 9th day going on. Here's the leaderboard, how it is looking so far for Canadian Open DH, presented by iXS. You can see him right there. Sam Blankenstein, you see him tied for 4. Now, he's got to finish in the top 5 when this is all said and done so he can become the king of Crankworx. If he doesn't, he's out, and Thomas Slavic will be the winner and the king of Crankworx for 2016. He's tied right now with Kirk McDowell in the 4th spot. Then you got USA's very own Elliot Jackson. He's crammed himself into that 3rd spot, just 2.04 off the top time. And Kerr, who was the king from last year, in 2nd, and Jack Moir, the time to beat. Tristan, 2:46.99, sir.
Yeah, well, our next racer's up in the gate. This guy got 2nd here before. It's none other than Mark Wallace.
Yeah, second last year. You know, you'd like to turn that number 2, that silver medal, into a gold. Can he do it this year?
Strong kid from Vancouver Island. Been on the rise here. So 1 second back at the first split, 3 seconds back at the second one. We'll see if he's able to find a little bit of time in the bottom part of the track here and get himself up into that top 5. Again, looking smooth through the bottom part of the course here, but I mean, we can't really talk about it too much, just how dry and loose it is out there, which is then making things extremely difficult for the racers. They're trying to find that edge to push it, but they're having difficulty with it.
Well, here goes Mark Wallace. His time will be a 2:50.75, top 10, 7th place. And Sam Blenkinsop can sigh of relief right now because he's still in 4th, tied with Kirk McDowell. Let's take a look at our triple here. It's like a gap to flat to gap.
So again, it comes through the boneyard here, goes over the dual slalom course, and then that last one here. And
right here.
This is supposed to be on-off. I don't know if you call it a quad, but you're just airing over the entire massive tabletop there. We've seen a lot of other fast guys just go on and off really quick. He's going up and right over it, so maximum airtime.
Yeah, you know, Jack Moir says, you know, he knows the racers that are behind him. He's not super confident that that time's going to hold up, but right now it's holding up with about 8 more guys. There's the Bulldog now. Plate number 11, Brooke McDonald. Oh, man, if he did this and knocked Blanky out, fellow countrymen, oh, man.
Well, you can see the focus in his eyes there in the start gate. He's definitely looking for some redemption. He's definitely looking for a strong result. And like we talked about, this is a racer that could do well on the track, scrubbing low. So he was back at the first split. Let's see if he had a great middle section of the course here. If he was able to find some time.
Seconds.
So tripling over the jumps there, but going to flat, you can see losing even more time. 6.55 back for Brooke McDonald. So Jack looking like he's weathered another bullet there.
And it looks like possibly maybe Sam Blenkinsop has weathered another one too.
Wonder if Sam sent him a text. Yo, man.
Do not
throw the race. I'm in 4th.
Do not beat 2:49.13, Brooke.
I'll give you more of a 10% rule than you ever imagined.
Oh my gosh, right? Kick him down 5 Gs for that one. Brooke McDonald, here we go. Yeah, he's going to be out of that top 5. What's the time for Brooke McDonald, the Bulldog? A 2:54.12, 14th place. So Brooke McDonald doing the best he could out there, 14th place. Doesn't seem that he's got the snap here, does it? Oh yeah, casing that one.
And then going triple, which is in a massive bottom out. And we know he's been feeling sick at the start of last week, so maybe if things are lingering a little bit, or if he just already had some big problems up top, and for him it was just, it's not worth leaving it all on the track there, just bring her down in one piece.
Well, like you said too, also being that he's sick coming into this whole thing, man, it's a tough bet for him. So taking a look at it right now, Sam Blenkinsop tied for 4th. We keep talking about Blanky for good reason. He's tied for 4. He's got to be in the top 5 when this is all said and all the riders have gone. If he does, he will be the king of Crankworx. If he does not stay in the top 5, Thomas Slavic will be the king of Crankworx. That's what's going on. But then you got Lucas Shaw. He's battling out for the win. Jack Moir is timed 2:46.99. Can Lucas Shaw give it a run?
Yeah, we saw Luca in the dual slalom there, and he was making it look flawless. Look at that. So he was right behind at the first split, 0.08. Let's see what the second split says for us here. Smooth off those jumps, going for the triple, not bottoming out is so hard. So 3.67 back, so losing time in the middle sector of the track.
But if he beats a 2:49.13, that could knock Blanky out of contention right there for the king of Crankworx.
Yeah, and he could easily do that here. Coming down through the lower section of the track.
It comes down to this, Lucas Shaw.
Again, look at that classic style though, Brad. Just flawless on the bike. No unnecessary movement, just looking smooth.
So fluid. And here we go. Is he gonna get across the time? 2:51.63, 9th place for Lucas Shaw. Blanky's dodged another one, so is Jack Moir. Oh my goodness. We're looking at about 6 more riders to go. Holy crap. Let's take a look here at the replay. Seems like a little bit of wind kicking up on that last jump. Take a look here.
He's pulling up super hard on that to try and get up and over it. So getting a little upright pencil style off the jump right there. Well, making every other jump look so easy, really having to pull up on the bars there to get up and over that tabletop.
So that's how it's looking right now. Lucas Shaw, top 10, 9th place, 251.63. That's 4.6 off the top time of Moir with his 246.99. Boy, every single one of these next riders has a chance to make a different ending to this storybook today. Here's number 9, Greg Williamson.
Well, Greg Williamson's turn right now. If you hear a chainsaw in the background, it's because there's some people cruising by where we're hanging out here.
We just had 4 chainsaws pass us. Here's Greg Williamson, 145 off that top split.
So Noah pedaling, just going full speed tuck. Let's see if he puts in a pedal stroke here soon. Okay, there we go. It's almost looking like he maybe had a mechanical, but a little bit back in the time there, 5.45. So unfortunately, as we've seen, you can't make that kind of time up in the bottom section of the track. You really have to be in touch coming out of the woods there into that second split.
You got that right. Greg Williamson now 236 and counting.
Unfortunately, you just can't win the race on the bottom section alone here. As much as it looks cool for us, and it can be a bit of a deal breaker if the racing's tight, it's just not going to be the difference there. You can't make up a huge amount of time by over-scrubbing a jump compared to your competitors.
You got to do that on the upper section. 252.20, 11th place for him right there. So another bullet dodged by Sam Blankenship in that 4th spot. Let's check in with Hannah Bernard standing by. Hannah, what's going on down there? What's the feel? What's the vibe?
Well, as every racer comes down and they don't get into that top 5, it means that Sam Blankenship dodged a bullet. But this guy, he is biting his nails. Now, Thomas, as a racer, normally it's in your hands, your fate of whether you're going to win. Here today, you're completely out of control. How do you feel right now?
You know, it feels crazy. It's a huge gamble, and as you said, I cannot avoid it. And I did my part of the job yesterday. I did all I could, and now I'm just going to wait with Blanky.
It's a return to Crankworx. How would it feel to walk away with the King of Crankworx title here this year?
Yeah, it would be amazing. Like, it was a hard season. Like, we put a lot of effort in the event, so it would be good satisfaction to take the overall title.
Well, only time will tell, guys. 5 more guys coming down the track here. Back up to you.
You know, and he makes a great point. Thank you so much, Hannah. And Slavik said he did what he needed to do yesterday, and he did just that. He could do no more than that. So it's out of his hands today.
Well, so many stories and so much history going to get written down here today. And look at this guy, Mick Hanna. He is really in touch right now.
Oh, Mick Hanna in the search for his first win ever in your Canadian Open DH presented by iXS.
Well, we talked about it. You can't win the race really in the bottom, but if you're in touch within less than a second, you might be able to out-scrub your competitor there, get on the pedal strokes between the jumps, and you might be able to find some time. So different line there, going to the far left of that jump, keeping low, scrubbing off of that. Now flowing down through the rhythm here. What's the clock going to say? He's coming over that final on and off.
Sick Mick Hanna. Here we go. Crossing the line. His time, 2:47.87. And so that means Jack Moir dodges one on that one. And Mick Hanna will go into second place. 3rd at the Fox Air DH. 2nd in 2013. 2nd in 12. And 2nd again today.
Well, we're talking about a different line here, Brad. We saw him through the lower section of the track, coming out and going. All the riders are going lookers left there. He went full riders left, keeping low off of that. So Mick always wanted to find something new if it can be done. And good enough for second place right now.
And if he was to end up there, this would be his 3rd second place finish at the Canadian Open DH for sick Mick Hanna. But I got to think since Blanky has now been bumped to 5, he's tied with Kirk McDowell. I think that puts him out of contention right now. Taking a look, there you go. You can see McDowell right there, 5th. You got Jackson 4, Kerr 3, Hanna 2, and Moir number 1. 2:46.99. So now we focus on our next rider. We've been talking about him, Remy Thirion. Why are we talking about him, Tristan?
Well, why are we talking about him? He tamed the gnarliest, muddiest, ruddiest race course of the downhill we've ever seen, and that was in Leger, France. but it is bone dry, dusty, loose here today. Look at him, smooth off the jumps, hucking the triple there. So 0.33 back at the first split. Let's see what the second one says for us here as he's coming down, if he's in touch or not with the time. Again, completely different track. I would think, though, he would have to be loving the middle section of just how fast you can go through there, how many little doubles there is, how crazy it is with the steep chute at the bottom of the spaghetti roots. So going back to the regular line, we're seeing all of our competitors there. Mick Hanna's the only one doing the different line. Coming down here, that clock's ticking away, but it looks like he's lost a bit of time on that middle sector.
Yeah, you're right. He has lost some time, and he's going to come across into 10th place, 2:51.07. A very strong upper section for Remy, but not able to get her done in that lower section. Talk about night and day from conditions from Leger out here to Crankworx in Whistler.
Yeah, very, very different. So Jack's still on that hot seat, dodging another bullet. Technically, Blinkensop's in 5th place, tied right now with Kirk McDowell. Thomas Slavic's hanging out down there, watching to see how it unfolds. I don't know what else we can really talk about here. There's really nothing going on, Brad, at the moment.
Yeah, right? Well, we got Marcelo Gutierrez coming up, Connor Fearon coming up, and Troy Brosnan all coming out of yet to cross this line. And if you look at it, Brosnan, well, he's the guy who won everything last year in your Canadian Open DH, and he'll be the last guy to go. Well, let's send it back upstairs, and let's get started with our next rider ready to come down this. Oh, and there he is right there, Marcelo Gutierrez, the winner of the Garbo DH. Can he get it done out here, Tristan?
He's done it before, Brad. He's just got to find that form here again. We know he excels on the extremely long tracks that are 10 minutes plus. But what we're seeing right now is this track is under 3 minutes. He's going to have to put everything together. Look at up at the first split. So 0.13 up. Again, that was higher up on the track. Now down in the lower section. Look at the fitness. So 0.76. Is he going to be able to find some across the flats there and keep the wheels rolling down through here? He's got to hit all of his marks, rounding out all those berms, staying off the brakes, finding the flow over those jumps, staying nice and low, and not tagging any of the transitions there. Making it through that first jump, getting up and over that second one, riding around that, cutting the inside. So cutting the inside of that corner, and then setting him up wide on the right-hand side. What's the clock say as we're coming down?
Here's your 2014 champ. He also won Garbo this year. What does he do right now? 2:48.19 into 3rd place for Marcelo Gutierrez. 3rd place finish, 2:48.19, and that is going to mean Sam Blankensop bumped down to 6th place. Wow.
He's got
Let's take a look at the pedaling of Marcelo and compare that to the Bulldog here. Take a look.
Well, he's got that national champs jersey on there on that left sleeve. So staying to the side of the jump, just doing the double, not hucking it, and then just look at this. Spicy across the flats there, pedaling away nice and hard. Marcelo, strong, strong push there at the very end.
Well, let's take a look. This is how it's looking for you right now. And we got 2 more riders to go. But you got Jackson in the 5th spot, Kerr in the 4th spot, Marcelo checking in 3rd, Sick Mick Hanna number 2, and Jack Moir number 1. Time to beat, 2:46.99. Connor Fearon up next. Only 2 riders to go here in your Canadian Open DH presented by iXS.
So Jack Moir guaranteed a 3rd position right now. He's in the hot seat, but 2 more riders to go. Connor Fearon coming out of the trees. So he was up at the first split by almost a second. Let's see if he can make it happen down here on the bottom part. Keeping it nice and low off those jumps, hammering away. So 1 second back. He has lost almost 2 seconds there in the middle sector of the track. Drifting a little bit wide and loose on that. Let's see if he can reel it back in at all on the bottom part. Again, another guy that's been doing laps. He's been hanging out in Bromont, Quebec all summer long, training out there near his mechanic. But again, the dry, loose conditions right here probably favor the Australian. Again, from Adelaide. This character knows how to ride a bike and ride it fast.
We talked about that. He's going to air it out to the transition. Here we go. Pedal strokes across the line. 2:48.38. 5th place for Connor Fearon.
So the stage is now set here, Brad. It's Connor coming across the line there. Not enough to jump up into that number 1 spot.
Let's take a look at Connor because he just looks like he is so calculated. He is so smooth the way he rides. Take a look at these replays here.
Yeah, railing out of that corner there. And if you want to see somebody put on a clinic of how to rail a berm, this is the guy, Connor Ferron. But really relaxed style. Doesn't use his upper body too much. There's no herky-jerky motion there. Nice and calm, relaxed, steering the bike with that back end there. But not flicking around or anything like that. Just bringing it down, not using any unnecessary energy.
Maybe a slight case on that last one. But his time for Connor will check him in that 5th spot. So right now, Sam Blankenship is out. That means you look at things now, Sam is out of contention for the king, but looking at things playing out right now, we talked about the Aussies going to be good out here in these dry, dusty conditions, and they're proven right there with Mick Hanna in that 2nd spot, Jack Moir in number 1.
Well, and talking about Aussies, there's one Australian left, and he's at the top of the hill. Are we going to see a full sweep here in Whistler? Aussies dominating?
Well, when you got a man like Troy Brosnan waiting up top, that's going to be a tough one. All right, let's check in with Hannah Bernard standing by with more. Hannah?
Yeah, guys, you're talking about Troy Brosnan. He's the last guy to come down the hill. He has had a very, very good year on the World Cup circuit. Tons of top 5 finishes, top 10s. He got 9th in Leger, and he won this event last year here in Whistler. So tough competition for Jack Moir. He is a little bit nervous, but we'll have to see what happens as Troy comes down the hill. Back up to you.
Thank you so much. So here he comes right now. Our final rider, Troy Brosnan, last year's defending champ. Can he do it again?
Well, he was living out here last summer, Brad, so he's no stranger to the trails. We saw it. Oh, look at that first split, up by 1.22. Let's see if he can bring it home. He's been excited about the conditions, loving the dry, loose conditions the entire way down. Look at that, he's added even more, almost 3 seconds. So he's coming across the flats right now, up at the top of the Red Bull Joyride course. He's now coming down into the final bit of the rhythm section here. He's just got to bring this ship home right now. Rail in the corner. Is he going to go back to back here? Your Canadian Open DH presented by iXS. Look at that, so low coming into that jump. No unnecessary movements. Looking bright with that kit. It's all his right now as he's coming down into the side of the finish line.
Your defending champ from last year, Troy Brosnan, coming across the line. Has he done it? Yes, he has. 2:43.35. Your back-to-back wins on your Canadian Open DH presented by iXS. And that, my friends, is an Australian sweep out here today.
Hello.
And what a race right there. Look at how happy he is, Brad. You know he wanted that win.
Been watching him compete out here for so many years as a young little kid, and now he's coming out as an adult and getting back-to-back wins. Let's send it downstairs to Hannah Bernard, standing by with our winner. Hannah.
Troy, defending your title for the gold medal here in the Canadian Open downhill. How do you feel walking away with another gold?
I feel amazing. Can't really breathe right now, but it was such a good run and everyone cheering was awesome, and Canada feels like home, so it's just good to do it again and super stoked.
The story today is that this course was favoring Aussies. It's an Aussie sweep on the podium. Did you feel that way coming into the race?
Yeah, I did. It's really dusty and exactly like the conditions at home, so it's really fun and stoked it's all Aussie podium and taking over Canada.
I hate to make you keep talking, but can you walk us through the winning race here today?
Yeah, I was really nervous at the top, actually. Just trying not to kind of warm up too much as it's so hot. But apart from that, the whole run was really good. Past hecklers, everyone was yelling, and just tried to get out of there as quick as I could, but everything else was pretty loose and definitely riding how I should be.
Troy Brosnan, your back-to-back gold medalist here in the Canadian Open Downhill, presented by iXS.
What an amazing day for that man right there. An amazing year from last year winning it, this year winning it, and doing it in large fashion. 3.64 over Jack Moir in that second fight. And there are those Australian flags. Mick Hanna taking third, grabbing the bronze. Jack Moir taking second, grabbing the silver. And Troy Brosnan going back-to-back wins on your Canadian Open DH presented by iXS. And that, my friends, is an Australian sweep out here in the Canadian Open DH presented by iXS. Well, we got more coming up. Stay with us right here, live from Whistler.
60,000 trails in your pocket. Trailforx. Download the free app now.
Crankworx Whistler, brought to you by some very special people. Dose.ca, your entertainment fix. And by Kokanee, place your fresh beer. It's the beer out here. And by Samsung, live connected with Samsung. Well, I'll tell you what, it's been an amazing 9 days. We ain't done yet. The big show going on for us tomorrow. But, I mean, what happens today? Let's talk about the king of Crankworx, Tristan. This is how it ends up playing out right here.
This is how it stacked up right there. We came into Whistler. Adrian Lerone was in the lead. Now back to third. Sam Blinkensop had the weight of the world on his shoulders and 25 grand on his shoulders. Wasn't able to make it happen.
And you look at it, wait, Blanky just missing out on that one, and Lerone lost it by 10 last year. But let's check in with Hannah Bernard, standing by with our winner, Thomas Slavic. Hannah?
Talk about a Crankworx comeback. Thomas Slavic walking away with the King of Crankworx title. We talked earlier, now you have it. How do you feel?
You know, it feels amazing. I was just like waiting here with Blanky. It was so hard, and it was a big gamble. But it's a great reward after the whole season, tough season, you know, racing events, and yeah, workout. So stoked. Good comeback to Crankworx after 5 years.
Let's talk about the entire world tour. You came out in Rotorua, you went away with the gold in the dual speed and style. You came into Leger, you got third in pump track, and then yesterday in the giant dual slalom, you walked away with the gold. As the world tour went on, how did you feel? Did you feel like you had it?
You know, in the beginning, I was just like feeling like I'm just going to be part of the race. I didn't think that I could take it, but as I saw the results from Rotorua, it was looking like maybe it's possible. After Leger, it was getting closer and closer, and here now, I'm standing here, King of Crankworx, so stoked.
We haven't seen you at Crankworx for a few years. Talk to me about why you decided to come back.
You know, I was racing more World Cups and focusing on 4-cross races. But then we just saw that Crankworx is such a good event, such a good tracks and media coverage. So we're like, yeah, we got to be part of this. This is a world tour, so I should be there. So just came here and I'm so stoked that I'm back.
Will we see you in 2017?
Oh yeah, for sure. You can see me there.
Well, we'll see you next year. Thomas Slavic, your King of Crankworx for 2016, guys.
I'll tell you what, man, that's a no-brainer. When you're the king of Crankworx, you're definitely coming back the next year. Well, it's not only about the king and queen of Crankworx, it's all about your DH championship as well. And this is how that plays out. Look at your champ right there. What are you thinking, Tristan?
I'm feeling pretty stoked for Jack Moir there. I mean, that guy was putting on a charge all year long. End up in second here today, third in Leger, so good enough for the win with 175 points. And look at the names behind him. You got to think that's going to build a bit of confidence.
Yeah, and look at that four-way tie for that third place right there with all those guys. All right, so that's how it's looking at for your Crankworx DH championship standings, but let's check it back with Hannah Bernard standing by. Hannah?
Thanks very much, guys. Well, I'm here with Jack Moir. He is walking away with the Downhill Series Championship. Now, you weren't in Rotorua, but you got enough points with that third place finish in Leger, and then you came out here and you're walking away with the silver. Jack, how does it feel to walk away with the championship?
Yeah, pretty good. I didn't think that would be possible without going to Rotorua, but yeah, stoked.
Can you walk us through the race here today down this track?
This is pretty wild, pretty short and real loose, so you had to push real hard to be up there, I think, and yeah, I just had a good run, so I'm happy with that.
What is this going to do going forward in the World Cup circuit? Will it be good for your confidence?
Oh yeah, definitely. There's a fair few real good World Cup riders here today, so a bit of confidence coming into Andorra and Val d'Isole World Champs.
Well, a big congratulations to you, Jack Moir, your world champion for the Downhill Series here at Crankworx.
Well, I'll tell you what, I mean, what an amazing day it's been, but tomorrow, that's right, the new location for Red Bull Joyride, that is now on Sunday, and you don't want to miss out on that because it's going to be a big one right there. Join us live on redbull.tv. That's going to be 10:30 Pacific, 19:30. That's going to be on your Central New Zealand time zone just one day after that on the 5:30 start time in the morning time for that one. So Red Bull Joyride, watch it live on Red Bull TV, and that'll be tomorrow, 10:30 Pacific Standard Time. All right, Tristan, final thoughts.
The courses this year totally lived up to the expectation, and the final track of the year delivered it to the fans there. And another first-time winner at Crankworx, or not another first-time winner, but lots of first-time podium finishers there. And Troy Brosnan backing it up year after year.
Boy, we talk about it all the time, man. You see names that got big ones. Bassman Steenbergen having a big year this year. But you know what? We talked about Australia going into this race and how the conditions would be better for them. And look, Tracey Hanna winning it, and then an Australian sweep for all the guys. So it's been an amazing time for the 9 days. Join us tomorrow for Red Bull Joyride will be happening. But on behalf of our entire Crankworx crew, on behalf of Hannah Bernard down in the mix, Tristan Merrick, I'm Brad J, and bidding you goodbye from Whistler.